forest cover in Nigeria is less than 10% of what it used to be.
Food production in some communities is becoming a problem.
Communities that have been lost completely in the northernmost part of Nigeria.
So we're having problems from the south and from the north.
Because we sit at this precipice of either huge prosperity or, very huge disasters.
Climate change results in harsh, severe weather.
Things have changed. Things have changed dramatically.
It's real. It's not theory.
Freak weather conditions, floods, droughts.
No one is going to escape. Everyone will be impacted. I repeat, everyone will be impacted.
And we're faced as humans with some very stark choices.
Nigeria is blessed with some of the most ecologically vibrant rainforests in the world.
This small region is one of the top 3 or 4 biodiversity hotspots on the continent. It has a third of all the primate species in Africa, about 40 species. It has animals that are found nowhere else in the world.
The trees held foundations of the soil. They absorb water. They're like canopies to this earth, and our country and our state is being protected by that.
Not to talk of the food, our agriculture. The pollination comes from insects that have habitats in the forest. So if the forest goes, those habitats are lost, and the pollinators will leave, and our agriculture will be affected.
Forest is the greatest reverser of deleterious climate change. It absorbs carbon dioxide and turns it back into oxygen, and that's what we need as a planet.
It is estimated that one tree could sequester about 22 kilograms of carbon in a year. And without these trees, the carbon dioxide is left out in the environment. This causes the higher temperatures that we're experiencing.
The forests of Cross River State are the remnants of a forest that once extended all the way across West Africa, all the way even to Liberia. Extensive patches don't exist anymore except Cameroon onward towards the Congo, and then in West Africa, Cross River State, and then you go all the way to Liberia is the next large, significant amount of tropical lowland forest. Between 2000 and 2007, there was almost 250,000 hectares lost in Cross River State, and about that same amount in the period from 2007 to 2014. If you've taken almost 500,000 in the last 15 years, and you only have a little more than 500,000 left of tropical high forest, then you can do the math.
Unfortunately, Nigeria has a depressing record on deforestation. Commercial logging is lucrative, and when money talks, sustainability is not high on the list of priorities. Beyond that, illegal logging is thriving, so laws and law enforcement often come a distant second.
You've lost 96, 97% of your forests. Well, the country is developing. You've got additional population. Everybody wants to build a house, build a hotel, build something, yeah, and it takes wood. In the last year or so, we've seized about 400 chainsaws. You're talking about a loss in excess of 10, 15 billion naira. So there are cartels operating here. They're able to compromise security services with that money. They do not want to give up that illegal revenue. And so they fight to protect it. Pirates are very well armed, yeah. There would be 8, 10 of them on a boat, everyone with an AK-47, some with machine guns. And it's scary. You run across those people and you don't ever forget it.
If you cut down the trees, if you go to see water bodies like streams and rivers, that the trees have been cut down, those water bodies are substantially polluted. Imagine a place without water as well, good quality water.
Well, normally people think about security issues. They're thinking about police and criminal behavior or Boko Haram or pirates in the creeks and illegal bunkering. But when you're losing an environment, you have an environmental security. And our environment, our watersheds, our rivers and streams, our ocean, all these things support human life here. And so it becomes a national security issue that if we don't protect our environment, what's going to replace it?
Deforestation in itself takes out the cover, the tree cover that helps to catch the precipitation. And the soil is now receiving the impact of the rain directly. When you take out the trees, the root structure is dead. And remember, the root structure is what binds the soil.
And cutting down trees, for example, in the forest, is not just about taking trees out. You are taking out so many other lives that depend on the trees, that relate to the trees. You are destroying biodiversity. You are destroying ecosystems.
When you lose forest, it doesn't come back. People talk about, oh, cut a tree, replant two. It doesn't work. The soils here are only a few centimeters thick. When you cut down the trees and you get a rainy season or two, the soil is gone. And people move in once any timber cutting has occurred, and they plant their farms, and it's never going to go back to forest anyway. That's the God honest truth.
If you clear large areas and if you apply fire to them, you've already damaged part of the ability of it to recuperate. If it was just cutting it down, leaving it, it might come back very quickly. But if you cut it down, take it away, remove elements of that fertility that could decompose, if you burn it, all of that makes it very hard.
One of the basic needs for survival is agriculture and domestic fuel wood. Sustainability becomes an issue now because the population is ever expanding, but the forest resources are shrinking.
Creeping erosion is now evident in all parts of Nigeria.
We have huge dead areas that almost nothing will grow. You have erosions which are kind of gone beyond the word erosion to really describe it. It looks like some natural geologic feature. It's so huge now.
Climate change exacerbates erosion because climate change results in more intensity rain over a short period of time. When you build up an area, what you are basically doing is you are converting permeable surface to impermeable surface because you are replacing soil with concrete and zinc. So now you are increasing the volume of flow. Right there you have the recipe for erosion. We have people who are depositing refuse in gutters, who are actually blocking the waterways with structures, building structures. When you put all that together, what you are basically doing is you are agitating water. You are creating turbulence. Every soil has its own angle of repose, depending on the strength of the soil. A rock can remain vertical because it's strong. The weaker a soil is, the smaller the angle of repose.
In about 2-3 years ago, we had massive landslide that affected the entire ecosystem. And we were telling people not to cut at slopy area because if you cut at slopy area, you farm at slopy area, you let the land loose. You burn, you destroy the soil cohesiveness, and when the landslide came down, everybody's eyes went wide. And they said, okay, this is what we were told.
One of the most striking examples of erosion is Nanka Valley in Anambra State.
Nanka is easily the biggest erosion in Nigeria. What's going on in Nanka is massive. In fact, the way it's going, the Igwe is actually threatened because it's fast approaching his residence.
When I see a joke, incredible Mirianiku, 1 ton midi. Maketo volunteer, Saka, I will take you go and take off Catalan body. That was so Bodaida, Choshisha.
Villages have collapsed here at Nanka. A lot of people have lost livelihood because of loss in their farmland. But it gets bad when somebody loses his homestead. There was this blind man living in a house, half of which has fallen into the erosion. He's blind, completely blind. He lives in the remaining half. And we asked him, why are you still there? He has no other place to go.